There are battles every man must face alone. Not battles with swords, not battles with enemies, but battles with his own mind when the pressure becomes unbearable, when the world demands strength while something inside trembles quietly, like a candle about to die in the wind. The world praises outward toughness, yet the greatest warriors in Japanese history were not feared for their muscles or armor. They were feared for a kind of inner stillness that refused to shatter even as death breathed inches from their skin. That stillness was not luck. It was discipline. A discipline shaped by doubt, forged by panic, and perfected in moments when most men would collapse. There was once a young swordsman who believed courage meant having no fear at all, but the winters of northern Honshu proved otherwise. Snowstorms would swallow the sky, winds would cut through bone, and shadows of fear would follow every step across that endless white. One evening, when the cold was sharp enough to draw tears without permission, the young warrior felt his heartbeat grow violent, fast, frantic, desperate. Not because of the cold, but because of a fear he never learned to name. His old master stood beside him, silent, watching the storm but studying the boy, as if the truth he sought was hidden in the shaking of his shoulders. "The storm you fear," the master whispered, "does not live in the sky. It lives in the mind. If your spirit feels that truth, then stay. The path begins here." The night before his first winter trial, Arito could barely breathe. The dojo was silent, yet his pulse roared loud inside his skull, like a drum calling him toward something he wasn't ready to face. Outside, snow fell in thick sheets, covering the world in a kind of pale silence that looked peaceful, yet felt merciless. He imagined tomorrow's field, imagined collapsing, imagined failing in front of men who walked with certainty while his spirit felt made of shattered glass. Fear, in moments like these, feels physical. The chest tightens, breath shortens, and the mind confuses imagination with reality, danger with possibility. Most people run from that sensation. Arito wanted to, but his mentor didn't allow escape. "Listen," he said, "what you feel is not your enemy, it's the doorway." A doorway to what? He didn't yet know. That night, Arito paced the wooden floor like a man trapped inside his own heartbeat. Every corner of the room felt smaller each time he turned. His hands shook, but it wasn't the cold. Fear is strange. It enters through imagination, yet the body reacts as if a real blade is pressing against the throat. His mentor remained seated beside a dim lantern, eyes half closed, as though listening to a storm Arito could not yet hear. "A warrior does not conquer fear," the old man said softly. "He studies it. He asks it questions." The words felt cryptic, almost cruel. Arito wanted immediate calm, not riddles in the dark. But the mentor simply raised one finger toward his chest, as if pointing at something locked behind bone, something Arito didn't want to open. He didn't yet realize. The storm had only just begun. The morning of the trial arrived colder than the night before, as if the wind itself wanted to test Arito's resolve. His breath came out in frantic clouds, uneven, uncontrolled, each exhale revealing the panic he kept trying to hide. The mentor made no comment. Instead, he led him toward an old wooden archery platform, half buried in snow, its planks weathered like forgotten bones beneath the frost. "Draw breath the way you would draw a bowstring," the master whispered. "Slow, then release." Arito obeyed, but the trembling in his chest refused to quiet. Something inside him resisted stillness, as if fear was a trapped animal clawing against cage bars. The master leaned closer. When the mind cannot control itself, the body must take command. Something in those words felt like a secret no one ever told aloud. The master placed Arito's hand flat against his own chest. His heartbeat was slow, deliberate, like a drum heard from far away in a quiet valley. No hurry, no scramble, just rhythm. "Count," the master said. "In for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. Arito followed, clumsy at first. The first few cycles felt forced, artificial, like pretending to be calm instead of becoming calm. But slowly, something shifted. His racing thoughts didn't vanish, but they began to fall behind the breath, like soldiers who could no longer keep up with the march. Again, the mentor insisted, "You are teaching your nervous system a new commandment." Modern science would later call this vagal regulation. The samurai called it something simpler: quiet force. Arito didn't fully understand yet, but for the first time, the storm inside him paused, just long enough to reveal a deeper enemy waiting beneath it. And that enemy would reveal itself when silence met the presence of an imagined blade in Chapter 3. 2 days later, Arito and 3 other disciples were led deep into the pine forest, where snow coated every branch like white armor. A secret ritual known only by older warriors awaited them, an ambush simulation carried out in utter cold and near darkness. The moment they stepped between the trees, something shifted. Shadows moved. A branch snapped. Arito's pulse exploded, breath scattered, his mind screaming warnings the wind had never spoken. Suddenly, figures leapt from behind the frozen trunks, wooden swords cracking against bamboo shields. Arito stumbled backward, nearly dropping his practice blade, panic devouring every breath the master had taught him. He looked like a child who had forgotten every lesson. Before another strike arrived, the master's voice cut sharply through the chaos. "Become silent inside." He didn't explain what silence meant. Not yet. Arito tried to obey, but his heartbeat hammered louder than the attacks. Every instinct screamed to defend, to block, to run. Yet the master didn't draw his weapon. He simply watched. The other disciples fought the ambush fiercely, while Arito remained frozen by noise no one else could hear. A wooden sword slammed against his shoulder, pain sharp enough to blur his vision. Another strike grazed his ribs. His breath shattered into fragments, each inhale a desperate rescue attempt. "Do you hear them?" the master asked quietly. "Hear who?" Arito gasped. "The voices inside. Fear, urgency, humiliation. They attack you harder than any blade." Arito understood only one thing. If he didn't silence those voices, he would lose long before the next strike landed. But silence was not calmness. Silence was command, and command he did not yet possess. Arito nursed the bruises across his ribs in silence. But the pain wasn't what haunted him. It was the humiliation, the stinging memory of stumbling backward, the wide-eyed panic he couldn't hide, the quiet glances from other warriors who seemed to carry themselves with unbreakable calm. It felt like something inside him had cracked, not from impact, but from being seen failing. That night, the mentor placed an old cracked mirror in front of him. Its surface was chipped like forgotten history. "Look," the master said. Arito stared, uncomfortable at his own reflection, trembling in the flame's light. "What does fear want from you?" Arito swallowed, unsure. "To keep me safe?" The master shook his head. "No. Fear wants to protect the image you hope others believe. Pain attacks the body, but shame attacks the identity. A truth no blade ever carved so deep." The master let the silence sit between them, heavy as armor no one could see. Then he took a small red thread from his sleeve and tied it loosely around Arito's wrist. "This," he said, "is your ego." Arito frowned. "A thread? It looks harmless, light, but watch." The master pulled the thread just slightly, and Arito's arm followed without thinking. "You think you move freely," the master continued. "Yet one tug of shame, one imagined judgment, and your whole nervous system obeys." He spoke of how the human brain is wired to fear exile more than injury, how embarrassment can feel like death to the social self. Modern language would call it social pain, limbic alarm, reputation threat. The samurai simply called it a weak spine. "Most men do not break from real danger," the master said softly. "They break from imagined eyes watching them fail. He loosened the thread and let it fall to the floor like a shed skin. If you wish to control your mind under extreme stress, you must be willing to die to who you think you are, before life forces you to. Arito stared at the fallen thread, realizing the final test would not be against winter or enemies, or even fear itself, but against the version of him that refused to let go. Before dawn, the master woke Arito without a word and led him up a narrow mountain path coated with untouched snow. The wind screamed against the cliffs like something ancient testing whoever dared climb. When they reached an open plateau, the master stopped. "This is where your mind meets itself." He turned and walked away, leaving Arito alone. No weapon, no instruction, no shelter, just sky, ice, and a cold that felt almost personal. The first minutes were agony. His teeth clenched uncontrollably, breath short, shoulders shaking beneath the assault of the wind. Fear returned instinctively, whispering warnings, predicting collapse, humiliation, defeat. But then, something unexpected. Instead of resisting the shaking, Arito let it move through him like wind moves through branches. Not fighting, not surrendering, simply allowing. A doorway inside him began to open again. Minute by minute, the storm changed shape. Not softer, but somehow clearer. Each gust became simply sensation. Each shiver became information. The breath he once clung to in panic now flowed like something ancient, guiding him rather than defending him. Slowly, his mind stopped screaming. The sky above seemed wider, as if every inhale expanded the space inside his ribs beyond the borders of his body. Cold no longer felt like an enemy pressing inward, but a presence reminding him he was still alive. Hours passed. Snow gathered in his hair, lashes, shoulders. Yet Arito stood taller, as though rising from somewhere beneath himself. Panic dissolved, awareness remained, and fear transformed into focus. When the master finally returned, he found no frightened boy, only a quiet force standing in the heart of the storm. And in that silence, something darker waited to reveal itself.